Welcome back to Squawk Box. This morning, our next guest says that the market's true disruptors may actually be big legacy brands like MasterCard and General Motors. A little counterintuitive. Here now to talk about it is Scott Snyder. He is a partner at Heidrick Struggles and a fellow at the Wharton School. Scott co-authored a new book, Goliath's Revenge: How Established Companies Turn the Tables on Digital Disruptors. This is a counterintuitive idea because most of us think that you have to be a startup to actually get outside of the group think at a big organization that's bureaucratic and has red tape and can't get anywhere. So explain yourself.
Yeah, that's why we wrote the book, right? We actually believe established companies are sitting on incumbent advantages that sometimes they just need to think about and unlock in a digital world. And they need to do that by committing to leadership, organization, and culture that can withstand running at 2 speeds. That means innovating around today's business, but also driving breakthroughs for the next generation of business.
Just explain this. Is this more of a call for action within big companies for how to be innovative, or is this an argument, which I think it is, that somehow some of these bigger companies actually are more innovative than the startups?
Yeah, we would argue in some ways they're better positioned because of these assets, in many cases customer base, brand reach, data assets that startups or disruptors would kill to have or can only dream of. Which is why in many cases you see some of the disruptors partnering with larger companies because they have these assets.
You remember back in the dot-com era, like guys like Welch were saying the real winners aren't going to be the pets.com, they're going to be the established companies that finally learn how to use the www and the World Wide Web. I'm not sure it's so counterintuitive. Why wouldn't you think that, you know, companies that are established and that have heft and that have capital and that have all this talent, why wouldn't you think?
Because at times markets favor the darlings who don't make any profits.
What markets?
They favor the companies.
You mean the valuation, the unicorn valuation.
They can burn cash that an established company can't do.
And because they're held to a higher, or not the strictest standard.
But you would eating your own. One of the issues when you innovate is you're often having to eat your own in terms of whatever your product is.
Which is the 2-speed part, right? You may be launching a second speed that in many ways drives tension with your current business model, right? So look at GM, right? So GM's invested in Lyft. They've also created a ride-sharing company called Maven that's cars by the hour. In theory, the future of transportation says that if transportation is more efficient, maybe I don't need as many cars because they're autonomous. But by investing in 2 speeds, GM's positioning themselves for the future.
It sounds like they're hedging their bets.
Well, in many ways, but it's also being future-oriented. It's seeing where the world's going.
Let me ask you just an innovation question, which is, in most of these cases, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, the innovation's coming from another company that oftentimes they're acquiring or making an investment in. It's not coming internally, at least initially. The germ of the next big idea rarely seems to come inside the organization.
Which is why a lot of disruptors either get bought out or partner. But I think that's okay, right? Because that's a big company saying, whether our R&D machine is inside or outside, our ability to tap into innovation and use our scale, use our assets, whether it's data, cash flow, and actually scale these innovations, because that's why many disruptors don't make it. They don't have that scale.
Pharmaceuticals and biotech, for example.
That's right. That model's existed forever.
They ought to have, with the amount of money and the talent pharmaceuticals have, why would biotechs eat their lunch every time? That's weird. That doesn't make sense, right?
But most biotechs don't have the sales and commercial platform to take.
But why do they?
Failed biotechs are there for everyone?
There are a lot of failed biotechs, but the big discoveries have seemed, a lot of them have come from biotech.
I think when you peel away all this, it also comes back to the technology wheel's going to keep spinning, right? So we're now in the AI blockchain-dominated buzzword era. It's going to be son of blockchain in 2 years. And really, it's going to come down to how fast organizations and leaders can adapt.
Scott, take it and put it in the context of all of these entertainment companies that are now trying to go over the top to compete with Netflix. Who wins in a scenario like that?
So I think the good news is large companies can take a page from Netflix, right? I mean, what Netflix did under the covers is drive an algorithmic advantage. They took viewing habit data and they drove new products and services that people wanted. I think media companies are now doing the same thing. So the Netflix gap can be closed for larger companies that recognize we sit on just as much data as Netflix. Let's take advantage of that.
Final question for me, at least. Heidrick Struggles is
Heidrick
Struggles. I'm sorry, is effectively a talent business. That's the business. And so one of the things I'm curious about is about the kind of people you think big companies attract relative to the startups?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that. So rule 5 in the book is value talent over technology. Like I said, technology is going to keep moving. So fundamentally, you need not only enough 3D talent, design, development, data science. That's critical mass. Every company has to have that. But you need new roles that shift the way of working, right? So product incubation managers, behavioral scientists, people like AI specialists that live across your business that know how to translate that into HR, into IT, into your supply chain. Those are going to be the roles that drive that. And at Heidrick, we're focused on helping leaders figure that out and also putting the talent in place to make it go.